Yes, indeed. Yo, yo. What up? What up? What up? B Marsh Boxing. I'm back at it with another sad, disappointing story. Unfortunately, this ain't no good news. But what do you expect when it comes to Shakur Stevenson? I mean, the best fighters in the division don't want to fight the man. So more times than not, if I ain't talking about Shakur Stevenson fighting Lomachenko, Devin Haney, or Tank Davis, it's gonna be disappointing news. So Shakur Stevenson, he gotta look for a new opponent because WBC for the WBC 135 vacant strap. Because Frank Martin, the number four contender in the WBC, has pulled out. Yes, indeed, the man has pulled out. Frank Martin will no longer proceed with the fight versus the man Shakur Stevenson. This fight was supposed to be happening on November 16th on ESPN, Las Vegas, Nevada. Yeah. Team Frank Martin, whose promoter is Errol Spence, right? Yeah, they no longer want to move forward with those plans to fight for a world title. This news was put out there by ESPN boxing insider Mike Coppinger. Yeah, I mean, now this news just comes 4 days after, the fight was supposedly made. Now, these two guys had agreed to the fight in principle. You know what I mean? I guess nothing was in contract. But Shakur Stevenson and Frank Martin had agreed to a deal in principle. And this was hours before, a purse bid was supposed to be scheduled on Tuesday of last week. You know what I mean? You know, they didn't proceed with the purse bid because the two sides agreed to a fight and they didn't have to go to no purse bid. You know what I mean? Shakur Stevenson wants to become a three different weight class champion, three different division champion. The man Frank Martin has no aspirations on becoming a world champion if he has to go through the gauntlet. Now, the man Frank Martin, I'm sure he would have gone for a world title opportunity if it was going to be a vacant strap versus the guy he fought two fights before, the fight that really put him on the map, uh, that Michael Rivera fight. The Dominican kid who thinks he's Muhammad Ali. You know what I mean? Yeah, Frank Martin would have taken that fight. You know what I'm saying? I made my previous video, man. Maybe Frank Martin and Team Errol Spence and them, they heard my previous video and they probably like, man, you know what? This ain't a good idea. It's not a good idea, Martin, if you want to remain with your undefeated record, 18-0, 12 KOs. Shakur Stevenson is 20-0 with 10 KOs. You know what I mean? Their records are pretty similar. So Man Down Promotions looks like has advised this man, Frank Martin, to stay clear away from the man, Shakur Stevenson. You know what I mean? And they made their decision just within 24 hours of agreeing to a fight. You know what I mean? So they basically pulled the rug over our eyes and they pulled the okey doke, right? They said, you know what? Nah, man, Shakur, we ain't gotta go into no purse bid, man. We two grown men. We could come to an agreement, and they agreed on a fight in principle. Shakur Stevenson's like, bet, hey, man, this wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. I thought Frank Martin pussy or something, and he ain't gonna get in the ring with me. But oh my gosh, can you believe it? The fight gonna happen, and Shakur Stevens should obviously be favored to win uh, a title in his third different weight class if he's fighting the man Frank Martin. Then Frank Martin and T. Merrill Spencer, Nell Spencer, and all them fellas, they probably heard my video and said, hey, man, well, that was the name of my video. I can't even remember the name of my video. But basically, I was basically giving props to Frank Martin for going in there versus Shakur Stevenson. Oh, basically, the video was like, this fight has nothing to do with Errol Spence and Bud Crawford. But goddamn, sure enough, they proved me wrong. They definitely proved me wrong, you know what I mean? Because obviously the advisors of the man Frank Martin, which is Team Errol Spence Man Down, they probably heard my video and that made a whole lot of sense. Yeah, I gave the man Frank Martin props More props than Lomachenko. More props than fellas like Javante Davis. More props than Williams Zepeda. More props than the man Isaac Pitbull Cruz. But yeah, that's what I get for trying to give fellas props before they get in the damn ring. You know what I mean? The man pulls out of the fight, man. Could you believe that shit? What's the difference between Frank Martin and Orion Garcia? And Orion Garcia ducked two opportunities to fight for the WBC 135 lightweight strap. You know what I mean? Yeah. But you know what's gonna happen, right? The Shakur Stevenson haters, because all of a sudden he has haters, and best believe the haters are definitely the same ethnicity and race as he is. Black folk, just like the man Shakur Stevenson, right? And it's a very few select group, you know what I mean? It's just some internet fellas who on that hating shit. Like I told y'all before, man, they got ties with the man Bill Haney, you know what I mean? So the Shakur Stevenson detractors and haters and critics, I don't know how they could critic and just have any problems with the guy who hasn't even lost any round in his boxing pro career, hasn't ducked anybody, and looks like the whole boxing game's just ducking him. You know what I mean? I bet you they're gonna flip the script and say, "Oh, how could you even say anything about anybody ducking Shakur Stevenson, especially Frank Martin, when Shakur Stevenson ducked to the 25% split versus the man for Devin Haney to fight for undisputed straps." I told y'all before, man. Should he have taken 25%? It's something he would have to consider, especially because he's bringing nothing to the table as far as we're fighting the man Devin Haney for all four of his straps, right? But at the end of the day, 25% is something, he's going to have to consider if he's going to take that or not. You know what I mean? If he feels like he's worth more than 25%, that's his prerogative and that's his objective. You know what I mean? I don't believe that's a fair deal. But at the end of the day, also, Devin Haney does have sanctioning fees to pay. Yeah, I mean, but this ain't the same situation because at the end of the day, Shakur Stevenson been a world champion. Frank Martin, he ain't never gonna be a world champion if you got fellas like the man Shakur Stevenson standing in his way of becoming a world champion. Hence why the man has pulled out of the fight. You know what I mean? And it's a damn shame. You know what I mean? Mm-mm-mm. Like I said, the two sides came to an agreement, to fight for the vacant strap. Within 24 hours, Frank Martin's team was given a contract, and they said, you know what, F this ish. We're not doing this. Why? Did they lowball the man? I highly doubt it. If they thought they were going to be lowballed, they would have gone to the purse bid. Yeah, me. So with that being said, the man Shakur Stevenson, he went on his Twitter and he said, quote, most ducked fighter in the sport of boxing, end quote. Then he had some more quotes on his Instagram. He said, quote, Edwin, get ready. I'm tired of your bitch ass name. I'm tired of your bitch ass saying my name, end quote. So the man Shakur Stevenson is referring to as Edwin. That's Edwin De Los Santos, 16 and 0. No, excuse me. I think he's 16 and 1 with 14 KOs from the Dominican Republic. You know what I mean? He's a fighter who's on the come up. You know what I'm saying? Uh, and he's been trying to fight the man Shakur Stevenson for a long time. You know what I mean? 23 years old, southpaw. Uh, Here's some quotes from the man Dolo Santos towards Shakur Stevenson. He said, quote, remember that I am the danger. I can't wait to get this guy in the ring, end quote. He said that this month, you know what I mean? So time will tell, we shall see. It's a damn shame, when Shakur Stevenson does beat a guy like De Los Santos, they're going to say he fought nobody. They're going to do the same shit they did to Bud Crawford, you know? But they thought again that Errol Spence's resume is the one that's going to fight Bud Crawford rather than Errol Spence throw his hands. Yeah, he got hands thrown against his face. That's what happened. Resume don't mean shit if you're especially ducking a fighter who's supposedly the goods. And that's the man Shakur Stevenson. So Frank Martin, shame on you. Your advisors, shame on you. Errol Spence, shame on you. You don't want your man to become a world champion. Why are you holding him back? Why are you pigeonholing Slim? It's a damn shame, man. Damn. You know what I'm saying? So B March Boxing, I'm gonna leave it at that. Man Down Promotions is Frank Martin's promoter, so I'm gonna put the blame on him because Man Down Promotions maybe they ain't have their money up. Maybe they paper they money was funny, and that's why they said let's not even go into the purse bid, and we can negotiate without the purse bids, just so they could pull out. B March Boxing, man. I'll catch you guys on the next one. I'm out of here.